My name is Edie, and I am here to pour into you. I'll share the shields you must have to resist the effects of excessive stress. If you are in a work position that is high stress, you're dealing with people all the time, you are subject to the high risk of compassion fatigue, PTSD, other excess stress conditions. And excessive stress, we know, it has the effect of increasing our blood pressure. It makes us more susceptible to diabetes, and we can have all kinds of other problems. I come from a place of, I've been through compassion fatigue, and I know that some of my attitudes, behaviors, and conditions played into how bad it got. And when I tell you that compassion fatigue and PTSD are pretty dang miserable, I'm not kidding. It affects our ability to be in community with others. It takes the best of who we are and hides it, and takes the worst of who we are and magnifies it. And so we have an obligation to ourselves and to our community, to the people that we serve, to learn what we need to. We definitely need the shields that I talk about to protect ourselves, because protecting ourselves is the kindest thing that we can do for other people. Taking care of ourselves well is what makes us be who we are, and it helps us to be kind to others. And so it's really important to learn how to do the things that are going to keep us healthy and strong. And so let's dive into talking about the shields. Now, the shields are kind of an overview of what we need to know about. And so the first shield that I want to talk about is compassion satisfaction. When we go into work where we are helping people, it feels good, right? Don't you feel great when you help other people? We're hardwired for that. We are hardwired to help other people. We like it when we can help. And so what happens, though, I know in 911, what happens is that I got so overwhelmed with the negativity, because people, okay, so you help people and they don't want to be helped. And sometimes it felt like the help that we offered wasn't really helpful. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to someone who suffers an alcohol addiction is to be arrested for DUI, and it changes their lives, because it is such an incredibly strong intervention. I mean, but it doesn't feel helpful in the moment. It doesn't feel great to be that person who helps get them into jail. And so it was kind of a cognitive it was kind of a conflict within my brain, because I wanted to help people. And I knew that this intervention could help people. But oh my goodness, I loved it when I could find the dirt on somebody and find a warrant in addition to the DUI. So that kind of felt weird. And my idea of a really good day was to really help people by sending them ambulances. Well, who wants somebody to need an ambulance? So there was this conflict within of, if I was really enjoying my work, somebody else was suffering. And I hated that. And so it became a very difficult thing. What happened to me was I got more and more negative, and I got more and more cynical and callous. Well, what happens when a person gets callous to the people they work with is they also get callous to the people that they love, the people that are closest to them. Compassion satisfaction. So instead of getting bogged down in the negativity, what I want you to do is to pay attention to what does feel good. And if something happens that is not, that there's a conflict there, then I want you to not focus on that. I want you to focus on the one that does feel good. In 911, we answered calls from everybody, and to have somebody who sounded like they might be old, asking for help with finding a phone number to the water department, and being able to just give that to them and tell them to have a nice day. That felt good. And so to feel good while you do something is one thing, but then pay attention to it and bring back that memory later, because you can recreate the feelings. And by feelings, I'm talking about how your body feels. And so for me, when I know that I've helped someone, it feels, my lungs feel expanded, and I feel kind of warm around my heart, and sometimes my fingers will tingle when I know that I've really helped somebody. And sometimes there's that shimmery feeling. And so when I want to practice compassion satisfaction, and I do this, practice compassion satisfaction, practice knowing that you have truly helped somebody. And so I sit and I recall, and I focus on what it feels like. And then I breathe through, paying attention to that feeling. Pay attention to how it feels to really help somebody. And so it's hard to keep a feeling alive in your body for very long. Typically, a feeling will only last up to 90 seconds. Isn't that interesting? So when we're feeling negative, what happens when we get into a downward spiral is that we continue to think on this, and we continue to muddle it up so that we keep the feeling going. Well, we can do the same thing with good feelings. We don't have to do it just with bad feelings. Man, I know that when I get into a negative spiral, I can keep it going for a while, can't you? And so learning how to keep a positive spiral, something going up, is just a really powerful thing to do. So compassion satisfaction is one of the shields that you build. Now there's another side besides just feeling good when you have done something well, and that's learning to let it go when you have done something poorly or when you have a negative outcome. We are never 100% responsible for the outcomes of our actions. We all work in teams. We all work with other people. No matter how solitary your work might seem, you work with other people. And so there's not one thing. We can't be the only cause for things going poorly. We're never in it alone. And so we have to learn how to let it go. We have to learn how to release that responsibility for the outcome. It also means we need to release the responsibility for a positive outcome. So we need to focus on what we do and the interaction at the moment, and then we get the chance to release our feeling of responsibility. So there's two sides to compassion satisfaction: recreating the feeling within our body and releasing the negative feelings when we focus on the outcome, the negative feelings of believing that we're the only ones responsible, that it's all our fault. Things can go horribly wrong in our work. So whether you are in 911, you're an emergency responder, you're in a medical field, veterinary field, environmental activists, lots of people are subject to compassion fatigue and PTSD. If you're in the military. So there's all kinds of different people that this applies to. We've got to pay attention to the feel good when we get it right, when we get to help people. And we've got to release the burden of wanting to take complete blame for when things go wrong. Things do go wrong. And we have to learn how to accept that. Compassion satisfaction is one of the shields. The next shield is healthy habits. In addition to compassion satisfaction, we need to have healthy habits. And healthy habits are, we got to take care of our physical well-being. Because if we don't feel good, it's really hard to be kind to ourselves and to anybody else. It is really hard to have a positive outlook on life when we're in pain or we just don't feel well. And so we got to take care of ourselves. And like I said earlier, taking care of yourself is the kindest, most generous thing you can do to people around you. The people who love you want you to take care of yourself. I want you to think about it this way. Do you have someone in your life that if they would just take better care of themselves, your life would be easier? If you do, don't be that person for somebody else. Take care of yourself. You're the only one like you we got. And the third is we need to develop higher self-awareness. And I have a complete strategy that I teach on developing self-awareness. There's 5 different areas of our lives I believe that we need to pay attention to, different aspects of who we are, that we need to pay attention to in order to be the best that we can be, in order to have an epic life, a life worth living, a life of joy and of confidence and achievement and connection. Now, I promised you at the end, and we're coming to the end, that I would let you know what's the most simple and easy thing we can do to address this. It helps to undergird all 3 shields, and it is a really powerful practice, and that is a practice of silence. I recommend that you start out with 5 minutes of silence each day, where you focus on just on breathing. Focus on your breath, and feel it coming into your body, feeling it releasing from your body, and pay attention to it. And if we do that for just 5 minutes a day, it has remarkable effects in a very short time. And so I have developed a blueprint called the 911 Self-Care Blueprint. And you are invited to go to my profile and click on my link. And it's the first option that you have on my links, is to get the 911 Self-Care Blueprint. It is free, and it is so beneficial to learn how to be in silence within ourselves.